Come along, everyone. The next review's this way. Oh dear. Stand well back, everyone. I fear we're treading on thin ice.
I cross the void beyond the mind, the empty space that circles time. I see where others stumble blind to seek a truth they never find. Eternal wisdom is my guide. I am the Doctor.
This is somewhat of an apology to Sarah Dollard, the writer of this episode. Last time I said this was the first time that she'd written for the series. It was the first female writer since Helen Rayner in 2007, but of course, I do occasionally get some things wrong, don't I? She did, of course, write Face the Raven in 2015. So with that in mind, let's move on. Following on from last week's adventure, the TARDIS takes the Doctor and Bill to 1814 London, the last great frost fair on the frozen River Thames. The imagery in these opening scenes is brilliantly surreal, which makes it an ideal setting for a Doctor Who episode, especially considering that this is all based in historical fact. An elephant really did walk on the River Thames in 1814, near Blackfriars Bridge. The connecting tissue between these adventures is a nice callback to 1960s episodes where each adventure would blend seamlessly into the next. It's an idea that has rarely been done since then, and it really adds to the sense of renewal and change that this series has embraced so far. Bill wonders why they haven't returned to the present day yet, and the Doctor explains again that the TARDIS doesn't always take you where you want to go. This is a good reference to the events of the previous episode, and reinforces the fact that it's only been a few moments since Bill and the Doctor left the future. Bill also wonders if people will notice the TARDIS, and strangely enough there is no mention of perception filters as there would have been in previous series. It is perhaps reflective of this series' evident desire to be as accessible to new audiences as possible, and also continues a theme of references being subtle and non-intrusive. After a fun segment where Bill samples the delights of Victorian London, she and the Doctor get down to business when Bill notices lights beneath the ice. An unknown creature is not only creating the weather conditions which make the frost fair possible, but is feasting on the unwitting Londoners partying above. Bill is wary of visiting this particular time period, citing the existence of slavery as one of her concerns, particularly given her heritage and skin colour. Sarah Dollard makes this one of the key themes in Thin Ice, which she attempts to couple with the creature, who we learn is chained and unable to move beneath the water. The creature is not given a name, neither are its smaller counterparts, the nature of which we never truly learn. The success of slavery as a running theme very much depends on how the viewer relates to the characters experiencing the story, so it is a shame to see that the story does a great job developing Bill, yet leaves the creature without an identity and very few minutes of screen time. Bill's initial caution at doing anything at all in an historical setting makes sense, and it makes for good viewing when she begins to enjoy herself. Her camaraderie with the Doctor and the banter they share about the effects of altering the past adds to their strengthening bond and provides some welcome humour. However, in Thin Ice, her growing faith in the Doctor faces its biggest hurdle to date. Upon witnessing the death of a young street urchin, she challenges the Doctor's morality when dealing with death and destruction. After being told she is safe in the TARDIS in the pilot, and telling the Doctor not to be so protective and smile, Bill is suddenly shaken by the realisation of the danger she is well and truly in. Death is prevalent throughout this episode, and by and large Bill is there as its witness. Considering the number of deaths that have happened in series past, the death of Spider the Urchin is quite a dark moment for the show, and Bill's shock is well placed to reflect this. The reveal of the creature underneath the Thames showcases some great shots and direction from Bill Anderson, notably the warning on the TARDIS screen, reminiscent of the radiation counter in 1963's The Daleks, and the way in which the camera follows some falling vegetables over Blackfriars Bridge, down to the ice and then underneath it. There are also some great perspective shots from underneath the ice of the people walking above, which helps to build some tension. The Doctor and Bill meet the creature underneath the ice and learn that one of the fair's organisers, Lord Sutcliffe, is using the creature's droppings as a high-power energy source for fueling his steel business. There is a good scene in which the Doctor uses the psychic paper and his own wit to gain information from Sutcliffe's foreman. It's a character moment reminiscent of the classic series, particularly the first and second Doctors, who would often have to bluff their way out of historical trouble. Nicholas Burns is suitably nasty as Lord Sutcliffe, who finds himself on the receiving end of a Doctor-fueled punch when he denigrates Bill because of her skin colour. The main problem with Sutcliffe is not with Burns' performance, but with the writing. Arriving over halfway through the episode, Sutcliffe comes across as more of a two-dimensional caricature than a real 19th century nobleman. His racist remarks are exclusive to his character and only to one scene. His family history is largely glossed over, and consequently his personal history with the creature his family have imprisoned is never explored beyond the confines of a single sentence. It doesn't help either that the Doctor, when questioned about the creature's origins, brushes the matter aside, stating that it is of no importance where it comes from. As much as the episode tries to deal with the issue of 19th century racism, it also dodges the question on this and several other occasions. Racism was common in the 19th century, and by no means confined to the aristocracy. However, after Bill raises the issue at the beginning, it takes more than half an episode for it to resurface, after which it disappears for the remainder. The creature's lack of a distinct identity means that its own plight does not carry enough emotional weight to mirror Bill's own slavery issues, and it is for this that the structure of the episode suffers. The scene in which Lord Sutcliffe is racist to Bill may have been intended as sudden and a shock for the viewer, but it has the side effect of reducing him to a pantomime villain. This is sadly reinforced by his keen desire to blow the ice up to feed the creature and boost fuel production. It does not help either that we see Sutcliffe rushing to press a large plunger, or the comical way in which his hat flies off when he meets a grisly end at the hands of the creature his family imprisoned. Matt Lucas shows us more of Nardol's agenda in keeping the Doctor to his oath, and also gives a little tease about what is contained within the vault. It's an atmospheric scene which feels very different to the adventure that has just taken place. Bill Anderson's direction in this episode does a great job of showing Bill's joy and wonder at Victorian London, and creates atmospheric tension when it needs to. Like with Lawrence Goh, this is his directorial debut for Doctor Who, and it is interesting to note that, like Lawrence Goh, he is on board for the following episode. Once again, the relationship between Bill and the Doctor is front and centre. The questions surrounding death and the Doctor's personal experiences provide some engaging moments where the show addresses a topic that it rarely touches. Thin Ice seems contradictory at times, and perhaps tries to run with too many ideas at once, which don't get enough individual attention. In one scene, the Doctor dismisses the idea of asking people about the man with the boat tattoo as boring, but this is exactly what they end up doing. The lack of a true villain until the episode's endgame seems like a misstep. The creature could be assumed to be a villain at the start, but Donald fails to give it an identity or much of a character, and even the Doctor tells us that he isn't bothered about what it is, meaning that the plot meanders from one thing to the next with not much save conversation to keep the audience engaged. Some of the humour is well placed and adds to the relationship between Bill and the Doctor, however there are some moments where the humour falls flat. The Doctor's confrontation with the con man is a good example of this. The line, "I don't like tattoos either, I think we're bonding," feels more like a Matt Smith line than a Peter Capaldi one, and the deadpan delivery makes an unfunny line even less so. Themes of racism and captivity and human kindness will not build upon strongly enough to resonate with the viewer, hampered by having plot points borrowed from previous episodes, such as The Beast Below, which, whilst not the most popular episode, arguably dealt with the plight of the Star Whale more effectively than Thin Ice dealt with the creature. The Star Whale's plight was shown throughout the episode, which the creature is given a line of dialogue. The "you tell me" moment between the Doctor and Bill feels like it is taken straight from Kill the Moon in Series 8, and it feels less effective here, given that the former episode made this line the driving force behind the plot. There are some good elements to be found here though. The direction is entertaining and provides moments of wonder, drama and tension. The costumes are well realised, and Peter Capaldi and Pearl Mackie continue to prove what a good pairing they are. Sarah Dollard does a good job building upon Stephen Moffat and Frank Cottrell Boyce's work in developing Bill and the Doctor's relationship, and I'm interested to see how the relationship will develop further as the series continues. I'm going to give Thin Ice a 6 out of 10. Next time, Knock Knock, written by Mike Bartlett, who will make his writing debut for the series, guest starring Poirot's David Suchet as the landlord. See you next week.
I was sitting in front of the TV set, there was nothing much else to do. Then along come this amazing code, they called in Doctor Who. It was 6:30 on the ABC, just before the news. No ads to interrupt me on an interspatial cruise. There was moving metal madness, self-programmed to destroy. The Doctor has them covered to thwart their every ploy. Exterminate, exterminate that evil monotone. The Doctor fights the Daleks and I'm then all alone. Doctor Who is gonna fix it? Doctor Who will put it right as he moves across the galaxy at twice the speed of light. Back into the future, the TARDIS travels